See what happens? We start chatting and we miss all the good shit.
I can repeat that.
So you're kind of known for knowing a little bit about everything, Marty.
No, not everything, just the music stuff, I think.
Music stuff, yeah.
I'm sure we can find plenty of things I don't know anything about.
I think on your profile it says you know everything about everything.
Who wrote this profile and where is it? I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, let's introduce Marty, shall we?
Yeah, sorry.
All right.
Bit of a fangirl thing going on, but Marty's introduce yourself, I think, Marty, because you're a journalist, you're a publisher,
that's a strong word to use to bandy about. So yeah, by profession I'm a video editor, so that's how I got to New Zealand. I got hired by Sky TV, but more than often than not, people know me for my music stuff that I do, because I was on Radio New Zealand for many years, producing and interviewing people and blah, blah, blah.
They still produce some great content, right? I mean, shout out to RNZ.
Exactly. And then I started up the 13th Floor, which is kind of my own personal content thing.
And then, what do we call that, a webzine? Or?
You can call it whatever you want. A blog, a website, music magazine. I don't know what it is.
It's fantastic. I mean, there's so much content there, and it's so quick. Like PJ Harvey's released last week, and like bang, straight away, you've got content up there.
Are you a recording studio up there too?
Yeah, we just had Boom Boom Deluxe up there this afternoon.
Boom Boom Deluxe.
Boom Boom Boom.
They got a new song called, Leopard Print.
Yeah.
They're a rockabilly band.
Oh, okay.
Local rockabilly band.
Boom, boom, boom,
and
boom, boom.
leopard print. So they're all dressed in leopard skin things. They got two females in the band, the lead singer and the drummer, so they look good in leopard skins. And the guys, well, they look like guys wearing leopard skin.
Awesome.
So it'll be quite the video, I'm sure.
Oh.
Cool.
So you're filming the video
We just
today.
Well, they've already got a real music video, but then they come up and do a live performance at my place.
I think I've seen some of your live performances.
We've
up there.
had many
It's cool.
many
Yeah.
of them.
How many hits are you getting?
How long? What?
How many hits?
How many hits?
Like unique
Views.
visitors to the site.
Good question.
Where you just post it on your website. It's not.
And then we have
platforms.
a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to, and the website you can subscribe to.
Do you want to do a shout out to the YouTube? It's just 13th floor.
Subscribe, man. 13th floor. I don't know.
But it's the 13th floor in Z. Isn't there 13th floors in other countries? It's just the.
So the name comes from a band called the 13th Floor Elevators, who were a psychedelic band from Texas in the 60s, run by a guy named Rocky Erickson. And the band was notorious for having dropped acid before every gig. And then
they should take better care of it. You don't want to drop that stuff just everywhere around.
Rocky found that out the hard way, and then he ended up in the mental asylum, and he got drafted, but he didn't.
Where's the fire?
Sorry, one thing we can't kind of keep going through.
That's even worse in my place. It's even noisier. You'd think the whole place was on fire every day.
I think
the
so.
13th floor, weren't they the first psychedelic band ever?
One of them, yes. And so Rocky Erickson ended up in a mental asylum. They gave him I don't know what. And anyway, but their first album is a psychedelic classic, 13th Floor Elevators.
What defines psychedelic?
Well, it's a state of mind.
You
know it when you hear it. So, it's Jefferson Airplane was fairly psychedelic. Quicksilver Messenger Service.
Conan Moccasin?
Maybe, if he's in the right mood. Sure.
I think his music's quite psychedelic.
Yep. So, it's just...
Who's your fantasy band? Like, if you could put together a fantasy band. We were talking about this earlier.
That's interesting. See, because
like living or dead.
What's that? Living or dead? Oh, Jesus. I'd have to
I don't think Jesus plays.
No, but Hendrix does, and he's close.
Yeah.
So I'd throw him in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd have to. What about with Jimmy Page, the two Jimmys?
No.
You wouldn't have?
Nope.
Not Led Zeppelin.
Overrated. I saw Led Zeppelin when they did their reunion thing in the Atlantic 40th anniversary thing, and they were terrible.
Did you see the video of him playing at Live Aid, and he's like really drunk?
Yeah.
And if he got to turn off his chorus pedal or something?
See, so, I mean... He has his moment. They make great records. Love the records, but sorry. Yeah.
I'd have Bowie as my friend.
Bowie, I saw Bowie many times. First time in '74.
Yeah.
Diamond Dogs tour. So, I'm a big Bowie fan. My favorite band is Mott the Hoople.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And Ian Hunter, who's the leader of Mott the Hoople, is just about to turn 84. He's
Amazing.
older than Dylan, and he's put out a great new album. So he's still rocking.
Do you think there's any chance that we'll ever see the Rolling Stones back in New Zealand?
Yep.
You reckon?
Sure. As long as they're alive, yes.
Are they just going to shuffle on with their walkers?
Yep. That's what they do. That's who they are.
Yeah, I think possibly Keith Richards died somewhere in the 90s, but no one's had the courage to tell him.
Yep. Well, I saw Keith. He was on that Willie Nelson 90th thing last weekend. He looked great.
Oh, yeah.
Usually Keith looks pretty shady, but I'm going to say...
He probably had a blood transplant.
Maybe, very possible, but he looked great. So,
we got to take better care of the planet because we've got to think about what kind of world we're going to leave behind for Keith Richards.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So at the 13th floor, like every time are you on acid right now?
No, I've never dropped it myself, but there's still time.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I've never taken any drugs until now that I'm past 65. If I screw up now, who cares?
I highly encourage
Fry my
an
brain.
acid trip.
Okay, well, it's probably in the future, in the recent future, I'm guessing.
How long you been on K Road for?
Well, I've been in New Zealand since 1994. I live on Simon Street, sorry, not K Road, but I've lived there for about 12 years. Yeah.
So, I mean, let's get personal. Are you doing all right out of this journalism gig?
No, of course not. The only
Is anybody?
The only people
who is making money?
The only people making less money than musicians are the people who write about music. Right. So we're in the middle of fundraising. So I feel bad. I had Boom Boom Deluxe up at the place today. They've been up before. Now, last time they came up, which is 3 or 4 years ago, there was no money involved. We just shot them and I edited it and put it up. But now I feel bad, but I got to pay my crew. And I got to pay the rent, and I'm not working at Sky anymore. Yeah. So I had to charge the band. But I'm thinking to myself, the band's the last people I want their mony. We're trying to get government funds. And
is there much money around?
Yes.
Of
course, there's plenty of money around. Just ask Live Nation or somebody like that, but they're not sharing it.
Yeah. Right. But NZ On Air should be, right? Someone loves seeing your videos.
So we're talking to them, and we're working on a deal with Juice TV. So we're going to have a show
How
on there.
many of you are there? I mean, for God's sake.
Well, that's interesting. So some days I feel like it's all me. But we had a first staff meeting a couple of months ago. There were 25 people there.
Right.
Whoa, really?
I was like, holy crap, who are these folks? So that was fun. And we had a great time, camoozing and schmoozing and blah, blah, blah. So,
What's your biggest, avenue stream, or what's your biggest thing that you're providing for people?
Probably the thing that people know us most for is concert reviews. So we do. I mean, there are weeks where we cover 5, 6, 7 concerts.
Does that mean you get in for free to the concerts?
Oh yeah, and we have a reviewer and a photographer. Huh?
Is that ethical?
Yeah. Why isn't it?
You're just having a good time.
If you're going in for free and you write a good review, how do I know it's just a genuine good review?
The opposite happens. If you pay for it, then you're invested in it. So your opinion is shaded. If you get it free for everything, which is what we do, then you come with a clean slate.
I don't know. I think we could debate this ethical dilemma for a long time. I'm conflicted because when we do restaurant reviews on Carrot, we always pay for our meals. So
that's a mistake.
There's no bias.
You're doing it wrong.
Well, just so we can't be seen as being, and we generally, like the restaurants that do support us, thanks White Lady.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Saloon Bar, Coco's Cantina.
Right.
We don't review them because...
Right, okay, I got you. Well, I can't do that. There's only X amount of venues. Yeah. I mean, if I didn't go to the power station because I miss half the great shows, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so who do you call up to be like, I'm going to review the show?
It depends. Usually it's the promoter or the publicist. Yeah. Sometimes it's the actual band. If it's like Whammy Bar or Wine Cellar and I know them, I'll say, yo, we're coming. Yep. Is it okay? Yeah. We're not schmoo. They want the publicity.
You seem very prolific.
Yeah, I am. I mean,
do you want some prophylactics?
No, not right today. Thanks.
Did you say prophylactic?
No, he said prolific.
Oh well, just a shout out. I've been donated a heap of prophylactics, and you younger members of the audience can find a dictionary for that. And if you're passing by and you're planning a big night, pop on and we got you covered, literally.
So to speak. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. So prolific.
So, what's your motivation? What gets you up in the morning?
Well, I got up at 5:30 this morning because I went to a show last night by a guy named Rule. Do you know who that is?
Rule.
No. See, neither did I. So he's Australian pop star. He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
He's 6'5".
But does he rule?
Actually, he did. So I didn't pay for any money for the show. I had a photographer there. I'm in the gig.
Who's your photographer?
His name, I have several of them. The guy is Chris Zwagdike was the guy who was there last night. So anyway, I'm there with it was at the Auckland Town Hall. The place is full of 19-year-old girls. That's his target demographic, and a few guys that are there to take their, but that's it. And I'm like, I've never heard this guy, but I want to hear what it sounds like. And I was very impressed. I mean, it was a good show.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big show too. I mean, there was a lot
Town
of
Hall.
stuff going on, and So
how often are you seeing gigs?
it depends. Well, this is the first one this week, but I've had times when I've gone to 7 gigs in 5 days.
Yeah. Best gig you've ever seen?
You're on meth, aren't you?
No,
Like, face it.
Not even close.
Go on, own up to it.
High on music.
No, the best gig. That's an easy one.
Best gig you've ever seen?
Yeah, that was in November of 1973. So my favorite band, Mata Hoople, was the headliner. Second on the bill was the New York Dolls.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Opening act, Aerosmith.
Was that before McLaren destroyed their career?
Yes, just before that.
Right.
Yeah, but so you can't beat that. Aerosmith. Nobody knew who
yeah.
Aerosmith
Dream
was.
On.
It was just Dream On just come out. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite gig.
Wow, cool.
What's the worst gig?
I don't even know. Maybe I do. Was it Drax Project? They were here. They
Really?
played
I
at
thought-
the
I
at
heard
the
they were
town.
meant to be quite good.
They're supposed to be, and I'm sure they are from time to time. But I remember seeing them a couple of years ago, and it was dreadful. But it wasn't necessarily their fault. I think it was sound problems
Oh,
or
okay.
whatever. You know, stuff like that.
Marty, are you a musician too?
Barely.
Yeah?
You play the Bailey.
Beer does help.
So when I was the right age, punk rock was happening, and I was heavily into the punk. I mean, I saw the Ramones at CBGB, so that's
Okay.
my creds right there.
Could be a documentary about you just for that.
But anyway, so I worked in this place called the Great House of Guitars in Rochester, which is a huge music store, and there were musicians everywhere, and we were helping to sell the records, and everybody was in a band, so I got roped into being in a band. They were called the Now. I played the bass because it seemed like the easiest thing to do, and it was. And we made a record, 45, which now sells for like $500 on Discogs.
Cool.
But yeah, we did like 3 gigs.
Right.
And
If you guys got back together, you could change the name to Then.
but 2 of them are dead, I think, so that's probably not going to happen.
That's not impossible.
No, okay. We could do AI or something, or what?
Apparently
ChatGPT,
they've been experimenting with holographics. And
Okay, well, that's something to
they've
look forward
had
to.
performances like from Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson, but they're holograms.
All right.
Yeah, I told ChatGPT to write me a song the other day, like just lyrics and chords.
Yep.
It was pretty bad, but I was like, wow, that's cool.
I had to write a review for me.
Yeah.
I was going to think of a feature on the 13th floor. We'd review a new album and let ChatGPT review it and see if people which one they prefer.
Well, actually, the invitation we sent you, I got ChatGPT to write that too.
No, at work.
For the uninitiated, ChatGPT is an AI, artificial intelligence program, or an app, or whatever website, and it will write virtually anything you can come up with.
Yeah.
Actually, I've got to confess
Okay.
that in the latest edition of the Chronicle, a Rangaman has been written by ChatGPT. But who owns the intellectual property rights to that?
Right, exactly. So, and I think in like 20 years, everybody's going to be laughing about how we were so afraid of how AI was going to ruin the world, just like they were afraid 20 years earlier about the internet. So, you just got to move on. Open your minds.
Move on.
I remember everyone thought microwaves were going to make us impotent and give us
believe they-
cancer.
That's the invention I want to make. It's called the macrowave, and you can make things steadily colder in a quick time.
Aren't they freezers?
No, but like in a minute.
Okay.
Like you get your noodles hot in a minute, it'll be like ice in a minute.
All right.
Macrowave.
Microwave.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm looking for investors.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of investors, opportune time to thank my sponsors, Saloon Bar, White Lady. Have we thanked the sponsors yet?
Achos.
Achos,
Poetry Club.
Brett Ravlich, everybody that really supports Chronicle helps us make a difference in a small way. And thank you, Marty, for coming on the show. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously, how many hours a day are you putting in?
Well, like today, I started at 5:30 to write this review of the Rule Guy, and then I rented out my venue in the morning to some folks who were having yoga classes for the deaf.
That's not a band name, right?
It could be though.
Yeah.
And then we did the Boom Boom Deluxe thing, and now here I am.
So, where do you see the future heading for media? Like, not just the music industry, but I really wanted to get your take on the state of media, because we're in this podcasting frontier, and do you listen to podcasts?
Some, yeah, I listen to quite a few.
Which ones do you enjoy most?
There's one called Sound Opinions, which is out of Chicago, two music critics, so they yammer on, and I listen to a lot of current affairs, newsy type things.
I heard you on a good podcast with Don McGlashan,
Okay,
Kiwi Radio one. That was really good. Are you tight with him?
well, he's played in my living room,
I love his
as
music so
many
much.
have.
Yeah.
So yeah, Don's a great guy. He's very cool.
What was your career path? Like, when you were at high school, could you ever imagine that you'd be at this stage of...
No, I had no idea what I was going to do. So, but I did go to university, or we
What'd you
call it
study?
college, and my plan, my original, I was going to major in, what was it? I think it was like math, something I had nothing to do. Anyway, I ended up hanging out in the college radio station, and that got me interested in broadcasting. And when I got out of university, I got a degree, believe it or not, and I was working part-time at a radio station similar to like How Rocky, classic rock station.
okay.
But this is in the late 70s. And so I worked there, and then I worked at a place called MXR, which makes guitar pedals and sound things. And then I worked at a TV station. That's how I got into TV business. A brand new TV station opened up, and I was doing camera work. So the first thing I did was start a music show. So this is 1980, pre-MTV, and we had it simulcast on the FM radio station, and we did the TV
That
show.
used to be a big thing.
And we had Ozzy Osbourne and the Blizzard of Oz. It's the only known live full recording of Randy Rhoads playing with Ozzy.
Really?
It's all over the internet now.
Cool.
It's on YouTube stuff. So that was how I started out doing stuff like that. And then
You met a lot of celebrities in your time then.
a couple.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's like your favorite one you met?
Maybe Mick Ronson, who's also my favorite guitar player.
Lahoopy again?
Well, Bowie and Mott.
All right.
Yep. So
Bowie was just this. I mean, he wasn't even. You couldn't call him the greatest musician or the greatest singer, even.
Right.
But like he just.
pretty good, though.
Such a presence.
Yes.
Such groundbreaking stuff.
Yep.
And I think even Bowie would be the first to admit that he didn't really do anything himself except spot trends and movements and do them really well.
But he's a pretty creative guy, and I just saw a great quote because I watched this documentary about Little Richard that's just coming out
Cool.
that I reviewed on the website.
Is it called Tutti Frutti?
No, it's called All of Everything or something.
Yeah.
Basically, you should watch it, especially if you don't know anything about Little Richard. But there's a quote that David Bowie said about Little Richard. He told somebody early on, "I want to sound like Little Richard looks."
That's great.
Yeah. Tutti
That's
Frutti.
great.
Tutti Frutti.
You know, notice how the world's kind of gone to shit since Bowie died?
But sure, yeah, I do actually.
I definitely think
That was
there's
a hard
connection.
day to get through. We had a little kind of a gathering at my place on the day. It just happened spontaneously. What a way to go. Him and Leonard Cohen knew how to do it.
Well, Leonard Cohen, he went well into his 80s. He's still putting out albums. That was great.
You want it darker.
Yeah. You want my voice deeper. Yeah.
What do you think of that conspiracy theory that they replaced Paul McCartney in the 60s?
It's a nice thought. No, that's
Nice
ridiculous.
thought. That'd be nice for Wings, maybe.
No.
What do you call a dog with wings?
Don't say it. I'm not gonna say it. No. I'm a fan of both Linda and Yoko. So.
Yeah, see, you guys talking about your dream band. Mine, I would bring back probably John Lennon as lead singer.
I think you're right. Yep, definitely.
I reckon Lennon was overrated. Eh?
No, he wasn't.
Who's a band you haven't managed to review or gone to see that's like top of your...
I would have loved to seen the Velvet Underground.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they reunited in 1993, I thought, aha, here's my chance, because they toured Europe, and then but they broke up again before they came to the States, so I missed out on that.
Oh,
again.
really? They had
Second
like
time.
internal conflict before
Yeah,
they finished
Lou
the tour.
and John Cale never. It was tenuous.
What are some of the lengths you've had to go to get into gigs? maybe you're a bit short of money, or
No,
in the early days,
never had
come
to
on,
hustle.
you must have snuck in the back door at some stage.
No, you can always talk your way in. I just wear my T-shirt, my Reb Fountain T-shirt. It says, "Don't you know who I am?"
Oh, yeah.
It works well.
Yeah, good.
Well, yeah.
What was the craziest gig you've seen?
Crazy. Oh, let's see. Iggy Pop, maybe in the mid '80s. He was pretty wild.
I saw Iggy Pop in the 80s.
Yeah, and then I went to the Rolling Thunder review, Bob Dylan, and that was wild. I mean,
All right.
had everybody there. So that was 75, 76.
Who are the bands that get you blood pumping these days?
Well, see, I'll say a band, and it'll still be an old bit like Wilco. I like Wilco, but they're.
What's a contemporary Auckland band or artist that people should know more about?
I like Miss June.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
do too. Yeah,
They're cool.
stuff.
I mean, yeah, I should have written those things down before I came in because I
You
can
write
never
them
think
down
of
every day, don't you?
No, I
Well,
think
that's
I think
the problem.
I think it's more honest when it's off the cuff. 'cause
Yeah, but I do like Miss June. I think they're a cool band.
Good name too.
Yeah, and Mima Wilda is cool. I like her.
Any gigs coming up you think could
Or
deserve
some-
a plug?
What am I? What am I going to see? I'm going to see Don McLean on Tuesday. So that's the
Whoa.
next. All I can think of is the next gig.
Don McLean.
The American Pie.
Right.
Right, that guy. That's still going, huh?
Yep. And I first met him when I was in university. He played there. And I ended up being the guy who had to pick him up from the airport, which was about 20 miles away in Rochester, and drive out to Brockport.
Did you drive the Chevy to the levee?
Pretty much, yeah.
Was the levee dry?
I think it was a Pinto that I was driving at the time, but he was.
Did you
interesting character.
meet some good old boys?
Yes. He wanted me picking up chicks for him, and
Oh, yeah.
He didn't ask you to pick out some whiskey and rye.
And I can sing the entire song if called upon. So I have two daughters, and the younger one and myself, if we're in the car and the song comes on, we have to listen to the whole thing before we get out of the car. All 7.5 minutes of the thing.
It is a long song.
But it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Yep. So, and the last time I saw Don McLean, he did it twice.
Really?
Well, it must really suck as a performer to have like only a handful of really big hits.
I don't think so. I mean, he's had Dreidel and a couple, a bunch of songs. So, and when you have one song that everybody knows, it's not a bad deal.
Yeah, they said
He's-
to Lou Reed, "Are you sick of that song, Walk on the Wild Side?" He's like, "No, it's been paying my rent for the last
I'm
30
sure it
years."
has. Yes, exactly. That's how it works.
Apparently,
Sad-
Frank Sinatra hated My Way.
Yeah, but he didn't write it either. So that's why he wasn't getting any royalties.
It wasn't his way.
It was Paul Anka. Everybody.
Yeah, what's your opinion then on like music these days? Because it has changed a lot from, back in the day, 60s and 70s. Seems people are writing their music themselves much less now. And
I think you're just not hearing it. Because I do a lot of interviews on the 13th floor with a lot of musicians that you would have never heard of. Great records. Most of them are recorded in their own studios at home, written and played. They do it all themselves, and they sound incredible.
so you're saying there's too much competition now? So
No, it's
people
just
don't
that they're.
get heard.
I mean, these great musicians writing great songs, sitting at home, twiddling their thumbs. All they got to, especially with the pandemic, it was even more accentuated like that. But there's no way for them to be heard because unless you're Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift or you got that machine behind you, there's no room for anybody else.
But doesn't that mean we're going back to old school work values where if you want to be a working band, you get out there and do the hard yards?
No, the bands are doing the hard yards. They're just not getting paid for
right.
it.
Yeah.
So it used to
That's
be
bullshit, eh?
It used to be that the bands would go on tour to promote the records because the money was made with the records. So that's completely reversed now. The bands are touring because that's the only way they can make any
sell
money,
the merch.
and they're recording so they have a reason to tour, and they make no money on the recordings.
And there's a lot of venues that charge them.
I've heard about that. I can't believe that. That's. I think it's pathetic.
like, bro, you're making your money across the bar. These people are bringing in massive crowds.
Yep.
And you still want them to pay to perform?
No, it ain't right. But,
it's totally bullshit.
I mean, let's face it, the
I
same
mean-
5 people have all the money, and that's the way it's always going to be. So,
Yeah, I mean, I did ask you before about your motivation, but when you're not getting the financial rewards that maybe you would in Australia or in a different market.
I don't think it makes any difference. No, I'm not going to blame New Zealand. No, it's just the way it is. And what
But
motivates me? I just like doing it. It's, I mean, if I have a chance to talk to a cool musician and ask him about his music and what makes him do it, why wouldn't I do that?
Exactly. We were on the same page
So
there.
it's like,
Same page
and
there.
I get asked that a lot by the people around me. You go, why are you wasting so much time talking to people that we've never even heard about? Well,
because now you are hearing about them.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
Well done.
Hey, look, I know you're busy and you've had a long day, and I really appreciate you coming in here and taking some time out to talk about it. It's been an absolute pleasure, but before we wrap up, do you have any final words?
I hope not.
Maybe I should rephrase that, yeah.
You shouldn't say that to anybody my age.
I'm not going to ask how
Last
old you
words,
are. Not
yeah.
going to ask how old you are.
Yeah.
Dan?
I just wanted your thoughts on Cairo. You've been here 12 years, just down there.
Yep.
What's it changed? Where do you see
Well,
the
on the
future?
way up here, when I was walking up Mercury Lane, I got approached by a hooker, and it's Sunday afternoon, so nothing's changed. It's a little shadier than it used to be. I mean, I think everybody knows that. But
That's always been the character of K Road.
right? I remember when we
It's
first.
dirty.
It's also being gentrified too, though. So it seems
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's becoming less
Yeah.
shadier sometimes.
Yeah, when we first moved here, before we even moved here, we were on holiday, and so we're driving around, and somebody told us we need to go to K Road, and we're like, okay, where is that? And we look it up on the map. This is pre-internet, so we had to, and we couldn't find it. We didn't realize it was Karangahape Road. That everybody just assumed it,
Yeah.
and it was like, no.
Well, you obviously
you go.
found it, and thanks
I think
for
we did, yes.
finding us and coming on the show.
Thank you.
Letting us find you.
Thank you, and bear in mind we do have exclusive content on our Patreon page, so if you do want to
Exclusive content.
jump on there, you're more than welcome. Big round of applause. Thank you very much.
Marty Duda.
Hey, thank you, guys.
You're too kind. Please. No,
No.
sit down. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Encore. Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
Alrighty. Now I know I need the headphones so you can hear these special effects.